Hey Slush Pile Survivor Writers, this is Abigail. I'm coming to you this weekend, not with the prettiest tech. I'm still trying to figure out some things with my camera and my editing systems, but I wanted to jump on just to talk to you about something exciting that I'm getting ready for you and to walk you through it. So, just to kind of go over the Slush Pile Survivor name, my goal here is to give you writing lessons, writing prompts and writing tips that kind of just help you really master characters, plot structure, and theme. And the reason why I think those are so important is because they're what I like to call the 3 pillars of storytelling. So a big part of this is mastering characters. And why I want to start with mastering characters is because no one is going to like a story if they don't either love to hate or hate to love your main characters. First thing I always like to look at is making them imperfect. Readers really want to have a character that they can relate to, that they can imagine putting themselves in their shoes. Atticus Finch is known for saying you don't really know a character, or, in this case, you don't really know a person unless you get inside their skin and walk around in it for a little bit. And I really believe that stories are about generating empathy. And I believe the purpose of civilization is also that goal of generating empathy. And stories are our best tools to be able to help us do that. So characters, if we care about the characters, if we spend some time really getting to understand what they want, how they think, what really makes them tick, what their goals are, what their desires are, and what their needs are, that's really going to help us explore, a personality and a character in its entirety that we're going to want to hang on for 300, 400 pages with. One of the really cool ways to do this is with a trick that James Scott Bell comes up with in his book, Self-Editing and Revision, and he likes to call it Grit, Wit, and It. So I love this because it's super easy to remember, and it's also so solid when it comes to actually looking at who are your favorite characters in novels or movies or musicals or plays, and do they uphold these theory characteristics. So grit, wit, and it. Grit, meaning that the character has courage, the character has honor. You're going to argue that there's always the anti-hero, that there's the characters that, like I said, we love to hate. Yes, those are definitely in those cases, but grit also means just kind of having someone who has stamina. A character might not start with grit. They might, in their opening scenes, kind of have something where we're seeing something that they actually lack grit. And the whole story then will be working towards creating that transformation where they're going to rise up and follow through with now becoming a more courageous and more active type of character. If you've ever seen The Newsroom, which is an HBO show about this cast of characters who work in a newsroom, and they really try to tell the news well, tell the news in a way that's not just about ratings, but what people really need to know. And these characters have to be super competent when they come to doing that. The main character, Will McAvoy, he is one of the most brilliant characters I've ever seen in a story, and Aaron Sorkin just totally nails his dialogue because he is so witty. He can respond in ways that not only are smart, but also kind of make us laugh. And whenever you can kind of have that competent, witty, smart comeback in a way that you create these conversations, you're going to provide a lot more opportunity for your characters to outfox each other. And whenever they're trying to outfox each other, you're creating conflict and tension, which is always a yay, yay, yay for writing a killer, scene driven by dialogue. The last one is it. It is all about magnetism. And when I talk about magnetism, I'm talking about that thing that really can't be put into words, but it's just when a character walks on screen or stage or, just into a scene in a chapter, everyone is drawn to them. And there's just something electrifying about how they behave, how they talk, how they appear, their actions, their reactions. And it's really, really something that just draws us in. Scarlett O'Hara is a great example of that. In the book, she's not described as the most beautiful character, competing for these relationships with these men, but all the men are just flocking to her. There's something about her that's just radiating with attraction. And that, a lot of it too is because she upholds the grit and the wit. She's super witty. Anything that she has, any dialogue that she has with Rhett Butler, she comes right back at him. And she's courageous. She ends up delivering a baby during the Civil War and is fighting for her family's land when everyone else is fleeing. So while she could be really obnoxious in other scenes, because sometimes she tends to fall on the more selfish side, she really upholds the grit, wit, and id, which makes us really love them. So my challenge to you this week would be to go think about I'd say probably pick 5 of your favorite characters and try to hammer out what you think their grit, wit, and it really is. The reason why I'm proposing this to you is because what I'm going to be doing in the future, and I'm going to take next week off so I can kind of gather this content and figure out what I want to do with you guys and just give you, some lessons and cool tips and writing plans to help you guide you on your own writing journey, or just because you're a huge story nerd like me and just want to explore analysis of stories. And what we're going to do is a thing that I call character craze. So for, in kind of these series of videos, I'm going to create what we call character craze, where we go through an entire cast and talk about not only what makes us love characters, but how specific stories are exemplifying and illustrating these motivations for us to love them or hate to love them. And the story that we're going to start with is a musical that I am just wildly obsessed over. And if you have not seen it, and it's probably understandable because tickets are just, always skyrocketing high, but it is worth it if you can ever go see it. You can buy the soundtrack. So I thought this would be a good one to start with. If you did want to follow along, kind of, just understand where I'm going with this story. The musical we're picking is Hamilton.
I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot.
So I love Hamilton. I'm super obsessed with it. I'm writing my first story grid post coming out on August 23, featuring Aaron Burr and why we should start with antagonists when we're outlining characters instead of the protagonist. It's just amazing. Lin-Manuel Miranda he's the Shakespeare of our time, and I just super love what he has done to bring this diverse cast of characters in a way that he's bringing them to life based on the Founding Fathers. Often the Founding Fathers, are just kind of perceived for what they did, and when you're studying them in historical books, it's not necessarily something that always captures, a reader's interest or a student's interest, but he magnified how imperfect and paradoxical all of them were. And he really also empowered the female voices on the side of, the early years of America and its birth. And it's really coming to be the nation that it was. And I just love them. I think he's brilliant. I'm going to explain why I think all the characters are brilliantly and masterfully designed in my next episode. So we'll pick one character each week. I'll focus on what their role is in the story and the cast. I'll go in depth into what makes them work, and not only what makes them work, but what makes them electrifying. And we'll go through that. Again, I'm going to miss next week, but we'll be starting that up on the August 23 week, which is also in my story grid post featuring Aaron Burr is coming out. We'll start with the antagonist. I'll be here. I'm excited. Email me, if you want to support me and, pass around what I'm trying to do here. Just share my email list with any writer friends that you'd like to get on board. I recommend setting up even study groups if you have some friends to do that with, because collaborative learning is always the best way to learn. And that's why I'm getting on camera, because I want to collaboratively learn and teach and be there through your writing process and help navigate those so invaluable yet often grueling and sometimes stressful waters of the writing process in the storytelling world. So here I am. Have a great weekend. You know, email me with any questions. Sign up for a free 30-minute consultation if you have any questions. You can do that on my website, my Calendly. You just kind of sign up, pick a time, and I will chat with you in a couple of weeks. Okay, guys, take care.